It's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
It's going up forevermore.
You're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom.
Yo, welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live, your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Cover breaking news, culture, ermatic warfare. We will be your guide through the separation of money and state. Shout out to the best producer in the game, producer Jacob. I am wearing a Santa hat. He thought it would be appropriate for, you know, these festive days, the holiday season. I might wear it on Friday on BTC Sessions Christmas special Friday. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Today, we're going to talk about Simply Santa. I like that. Shout out Elaine. So today we're going to talk about, the elephant in the room, right? You know, Bitcoin is gathering so much momentum, so much positivity. Wall Street is starting to market Bitcoin. They came out with the most interesting man in the world commercial. I'm sure that there's going to be much more commercials, and it's going to be something interesting because as Bitcoiners, we have always kind of been in the shadows for the longest time, right? But now it's starting to kind of cross over into Wall Street, and then of course Wall Street is going to try to sell it to the main street, right? So they're going to come up with all these commercials, and they're going to invest a lot of money. But it's kind of different than the commercials for the crypto exchanges that were commercials on the crypto exchanges themselves. These are commercials on Bitcoin. I mean, not to be clear, not Bitcoin, but Bitcoin ETF. So it's really promoting, the Bitcoin ETF. And I'm sure we're going to start to see more and more and more of those. And then also, Sailor saying the quiet part out loud, which is Berkshire Hathaway and Apple, have more than $100 billion in cash right now that they can invest. And, of course, if you're sitting on all that cash, it's like sitting on a melting ice cube. And if you've seen how Michael Saylor's Bitcoin strategy has performed over the last 2 or 3 years, it's an undeniable fact that the Bitcoin strategy is the way forward. So what is the next public company to follow suit? I don't know. We shall see. But we'll be on top of it for you guys. And the big news of today, which we're going to cover, and this is something that we're proud at Simply Bitcoin, we've been calling for the last couple of months. We've been making the case that trillions of dollars are going to go into Bitcoin, and that's because of these enormous asset managers. And it's not only Simply Bitcoin that has said this. Now we had the Grayscale CEO go on CNBC, which did quite a little bit of a rebrand. I don't know if you guys noticed these last couple of days. And he said the quiet part out loud. He said that there's going to be $30 trillion in advised wealth that is going to have the capability to buy Bitcoin. Talk about a tsunami of capital that could potentially be flowing in. And in other news, we're also going to talk about this today as well. Elizabeth Warren has been writing really, really mean letters. She's losing the plot. She's obviously, I would say, scared, or better said, her donors are scared. And when I reference her donors, I'm talking about her banking donors. I think they're really terrified. They're really scared. And if you're Jamie Dimon, if you're a traditional bank, you have a problem with the younger generations if they can take self-custody. Because, I speak for myself as a millennial. And now that I've taken Bitcoin as self-custody, the idea of holding a large sum of wealth, in a bank, is just so crazy to me. If it's not in self-custody, it would be weird. And could you imagine if 20 to 30 to 40% of the population starts thinking that way? The banks no longer have a business model at that point, right? Because banks make money off of your money. They use your money, they lend it out, they rack in the interest. They give you a little bit of it. It's kind of a joke, to be honest. But yeah, so of course, Bitcoin comes along, and this is a radical idea of people being able to custody their wealth without the need of a bank. And of course, the banks are going to be like, yeah, it's not going to fly. And what they're doing is they're using lawfare, right? And they're using their allies like Elizabeth Warren to do that. Now, what's really interesting, though, is that Elizabeth Warren was like the figurehead, or she was a big proponent of the Occupy Wall Street movement. When after the 2008-2009 financial crisis. Boy, have the times have changed. What has changed, Elizabeth Warren? It's funny. It's like, yeah, Occupy Wall Street. And then Wall Street starts becoming a donor. And then it's like, I love Wall Street, F Bitcoin, the actual solution to the whole Occupy Wall Street thing. Because that whole movement started because of the 2008 financial crisis. And Bitcoin is the solution to that. It's just funny, how life works like that. So we're going to talk about all these subjects on today's show. It's going to be a great show. Like I said, I'm feeling festive. It's going to be a Simply Bitcoin holiday special for the rest of the week. And just to remind you guys, we are going to be taking the last week of December off. We're going to be taking it easy. I haven't taken a break in 3 years. So I'm going to be taking some time off Simply. I'm going to be taking some time off Swan to just unplug from the matrix and relax. And so is Opti. So just to let you guys know that next week we'll be on vacation. I guess you'd call that, or taking a break, better said. Anyways, I do want to bring up my legendary co-host up on stage. He's always optimistic. He will be wearing a Christmas hat tomorrow, but he'll be wearing an elf hat.
No elf hat. You should wear an elf hat. Anyways, what's up, everyone? How you doing this morning? It's great to be back. It's great to be here. On that Elizabeth Warren point, Nico, it's very funny that it's very hard to bite the hand that feeds you. I wonder where Elizabeth Warren got all this money from. Things that make you say, I wonder. Guys, this is literally what's that Star Wars meme? Things going exactly as planned. That was a good comment. Things are going exactly as planned, guys. We're seeing it play out exactly as planned, and Elizabeth Warren's my favorite politician. I absolutely love the fact that she's this terrified. It makes me feel good and giddy inside because I know we're winning. Anyways. Let's get into the show. We do have a guest today. Shouts out to Bevan. Wait. Nico, wait.
Rustin, make a video about the elves, bro. Making him... No. Why did I say that? Oh, man.
Bevan, how you doing this morning? Good to have you, bro.
Pretty good, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Awesome. So, guys, Bevan is also a fellow Bitcoin content creator. So we'll get into that during the culture. What do you always say, Nico? Culture is downstream or upstream from politics? Which one is it again?
It was an Andrew Breitbart quote, which is essentially politics is downstream from culture. So if you want to win you want to win the political game, you got to win the cultural game, right? Anyways,
guys, make your own propaganda. This is the way. Okay. All right, Nico, let's get into the show. We got a lot to talk about.
All right, let's do it. All right, everybody, let's get to the numbers.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed.
You're live, Nico.
Yeah, I know. It's the updating the thing on Mac. Don't recommend it. Anyways, I made it super easy for you guys. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Stamp Seed website. where you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their website. Don't put yourself in a position where you have to explain to your grandchildren why you lost your generational wealth because you stored your seed words on paper. Don't do that. Store it on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth. Stamp it on titanium. Check out Stamp Seed. Promo code SIMPLY at the time of recording. The Bitcoin price is 41,980 sats per dollar, 2,382. Block height, Opti. Blocks to halving, 18,040. I'm just kidding. Block height, 821,961. Halving estimate, April 19, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 5,000. For Bitcoin capacity value, roughly 210 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation, 1.75%. The market capitalization of Bitcoin, 821.5 billion US dollars. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 6.0%. In the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin is still a tiny little baby. And I can't wait for Bitcoin to overtake the market cap of gold. And that number is sitting at like 110%, 120%, one day 200%, 300% is going to feel really good. And I think maybe then Peter Schiff will admit he was wrong. Maybe. I doubt it.
No, he won't.
I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it. Anyways, here is the BTC CEO. He expects the Bitcoin price to hit new all-time highs in the next 12 months. And again, the rebrand from CNBC is interesting. They've had the same branding for like over a decade. So it's a bit of a shock. Anyways, let's check out what he has to say.
Has Bitcoin already made the big gains and now kind of treading water?
No, because it's growing up. Like I said, it's like a child that's growing up, and so you can argue about it being a bubble. And what I say is no bubble. So it bubbled in 2017, but then it hit all-time highs in 2021. So nothing has ever been a bubble that then has outperformed itself. And so I fully expect in this cycle, and you have this halving thing happening in April, which is great technically for Bitcoin. I expect all-time highs in the next 12 months.
So you guys are amongst those who have filed to have the first or one of many spot Bitcoin ETFs. How do you think they're going to prove it? Literally one at a time, firm by firm, or is it going to be kind of a batch all at once? Your ticker, I have to say to your credit, is HODL.
Yeah, we're very happy with the ticker, which we announced last week. But I very much expect it'll be all one day.
Okay.
Because that's what happened with the Ethereum futures. So because the SEC decided to sort of put everything on hold on crypto, just depending on paperwork, effectively, someone could have an unfair advantage. And they've said from a policy perspective, no, let everyone start at the same time.
So a couple things there, right? The ticker is going to be HODL, which is funny. Second thing is, you have this halving thing happening in the next 12 months. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if Wall Street really understand. Of course, there's analysts and there's people that do understand Bitcoin, but I don't think that they're Bitcoiners. I don't think that they really appreciate what Bitcoin is, but it's just another example of Bitcoin's incentives being so strong that they can't resist it, right? Which is just beautiful to see. It's beautiful to watch. And if you would have told me that this moment would have come in 2017, I wouldn't have believed you. Now here is the Grayscale CEO. He also went on CNBC. So you've been seeing like just them hammer this point home on the legacy financial media. They can't stop talking about Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin's incentives for you. You had Larry Fink say the other day, right? It's a flight to quality, right? And then 3-4 years ago, they were talking about how this thing is useless and how it's boiling the oceans and all this stuff. What's changed? Nothing's changed. It's just, if you can't beat them, you join them, right? So Wall Street is coming. I know a lot of Bitcoiners are not a fan of that. But look, BeautyOn, I think, says it best. I think Bitcoiners really, I think some Bitcoiners, to put it more fairly, have, fallen in love with the Bitcoin of really till then, which is this Bitcoin that has been semi-accepted. It's kind of lived in the shadows. It really hasn't been accepted by the traditional financial system or the traditional players. It's been, it's really been adopted by the people, by the early adopters. But if you really want Bitcoin to take over the world, as we all want. We all want this hyper Bitcoinization. You're going to have to be okay with, these institutions wanting a piece of the pie. Now, the good news is that you front ran them, right? Especially if you guys have been here, a couple of years, and you still have the opportunity to front run them. You have about a month or so. You do want to front run the spot Bitcoin ETF, because when that happens, I mean, like Wall Street's here essentially. You have all this, institutional money coming in. Anyways, here's the clip itself. It was kind of hard to find, to be honest, but I did end up finding it. Let's check out what he has to say.
Saw from, it was as low as 17,000 this year.
Sure. Well, Joe, I'm not one to make price predictions, but I do think there is a lot of optimism again in the market. I think a lot of investors are adding Bitcoin to their portfolios. And when we look ahead to the hopeful approval for spot Bitcoin ETFs, it really is going to unlock the opportunity to a part of the investment community that, for better or worse, but I would say for worse, has unfortunately been locked out of the opportunity to participate in having Bitcoin exposure in their portfolios. So we're really talking about the advised market here in the US, which is today about $30 trillion worth of advised wealth that we hope the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs, the uplisting of GBTC, will allow for that opportunity and for those investors to partake in it as well.
So, I mean, beautiful. Just good news overall. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's it's CNBC interview after CNBC interview after CNBC interview. The change in tune is just striking, right? Opti remembers. I remember, like 3 years ago, they'd be like, Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin? Like, that's so weird. Like, it's
rat poison.
The money from the internet. Like, how strange. It's not issued by the government. I think it's a scam. And now they're like, yeah, Bitcoin's awesome. You should definitely buy some, So, but yeah, Toxic Sophie has a really good point, which is never trust a GBTC paper Bitcoin company. And I want to emphasize that, right? Because at the end of the day, I think Alex Stanzik, host of Cafe Bitcoin, says it best, where he calls it captured Bitcoin in an ETF. And I do agree. I think it is captured Bitcoin. Absolutely. 100%. It's not real Bitcoin. Like I would consider, if you don't have Bitcoin in self-custody, like if it's not in self-custody, then is it really yours? That's what I got to say. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on all this? And then we'll pass it on to our guest.
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, there was a few things that were said in that video that we've been saying all year. I know a lot of Bitcoiners have been, I guess, just being tired. They've been bombarded with so much macro stuff, and everyone's doing like the macro meme on Twitter, because like that is where we are right now in the Bitcoin story. And it like, what, I forget who the first person was in that video, Nico, so you can correct me, but he basically said what we've been saying all year. It's like Bitcoin is maturing, and for better or worse, this is where we are, guys. And so like, the quote unquote adults in the room, they're looking at Bitcoin now. They want Bitcoin exposure, and now they're like, okay, hey, this industry is mature enough for us to allocate some capital into it. And what the Grayscale guy at the end, he said basically, there's $30 trillion eligible to get into Bitcoin. Obviously, it's not going to flow into Bitcoin like right away, but at a certain point, a lot of that capital will flow into Bitcoin. And remember, Bitcoin's not even $1 trillion market cap right now. Like, it's got beat up this bear market. We've been building in a bear market, guys. All you guys have front run the institutions and Wall Street. And remember, like, we saw the most interesting man in the world commercial yesterday, and Wall Street and them, they're going to spend millions of dollars to educate their clients, their customers out there. Like, they're going to do such good education and ads for us. It's gonna be incredible. And Nico, you said like you only have a month to front run these institutions. I might push back on that. I think we're gonna have a lot longer to front run, because like, I don't think they're necessarily here to play the accumulation game of Bitcoin. I don't think a lot of them want to have Bitcoin in custody. They just want that fiat gains. And so while they're playing No. While they're playing hot potato and musical chairs with fiat and Bitcoin, you just accumulate Bitcoin. You play Hungry Hippo. You take Bitcoin into cold storage, and hey, you still will get the price appreciation, but like, they can have the dirty, worthless paper money while we'll take Bitcoin. And this game's going to go on until everyone realizes what the real game is, which is accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible. Yes, we all want to increase our purchasing power. But hey, they can take the fiat gains. Like, while they're going to be stuck in their fiat TradFi vehicles, we're going to be taking Bitcoin into custody. We will call their bluff. And at a certain point, they'll realize that we were right, that they needed to take Bitcoin into custody, that it's not just about price exposure. And hey, they'll do all the education for us. They will pump our bags for us. They will do all the, maturing and legitimizing of Bitcoin while we just continue to siphon the game away and stack as much Bitcoin as possible. It's such a beautiful game that's playing out, because the asymmetry that we still have as Bitcoiners, I don't think that that's going to go away in a month once institutions start to come in. We're going to be playing the same cycle. Remember how long it took you to realize that, the game is not about fiat gains. It's about accumulating Bitcoin. Well, now the biggest asset managers in the world are going to have to play that game themselves. Everyone on Wall Street's going to have to learn the game for themselves, either the easy way or the hard way, but they're all going to have to learn that they want to hold some Bitcoin in custody and not just have exposure to the price. But hey, people are still inundated with the disease of fiat money, and here we are. We're the front lines. We're the ones taking Bitcoin into custody. So it's going to be a beautiful game. I think we still have a lot more time to front run these institutions, even though they're now getting into it. I'm going to say we're front running them until they're like ardent Bitcoiners. Until they want only Bitcoin, we're still going to be front running. We still have the asymmetric knowledge out there. So just continue to stack, guys. Don't take your foot off the gas. Next year's going to get crazy. The price is going to get crazy. We're going to see so much capital go into Bitcoin, but you still have the advantage because you want Bitcoin, not dollars. And this is the way. This is how you win.
Absolutely, 100%. I do want to give a shout out to the Rumble chat. There's an absolutely hilarious comment in there. It said, Bitcoin kicked ESG in the nuts.
Shout out to Morand. Shout out to
Morand. Also, guys, we really appreciate you watching the show. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to smash that like button. We did break 2,000 followers on Rumble, so shout out to the Rumble crew. Of course, shout out to the YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube crew, and of course, shout out to everyone watching us on X, formerly known as Twitter. And if you guys, like I said, if you guys are enjoying the show, make sure to drop a comment, leave a like. It really helps with the algorithm.
Wow, Nico's shilling shit coins already.
Algorithms? The algo. It really helps with the algo. Anyways, what does our guest think? What's up, man?
Well, it's really crazy that like all the institutions are coming in now. I remember back in 2020 when Michael Saylor was like, starting to buy Bitcoin, and everyone was talking about institutions are going to follow. They're just going to like snowball after him. And that didn't really happen. And kind of the same thing with El Salvador adopting Bitcoin. Everyone was thinking that like, there's just going to be this cascade of countries that come after it. And it turns out it's taken a little bit more time, but I think that's okay. Like, as Bitcoiners, like the only thing we have is time. And we just want to stack as much as possible. So if we can have more time to stack before the institutions come in, I think that's a win for us. But, of course, everyone wants to see number go up. So once that money starts flowing in and the number starts going up, it's going to feel really crazy. But yeah, another point too is that like Bitcoin is, there's never really a bad time to buy Bitcoin unless it's like at the top of the market and you don't want to hold for over 4 years. But when Bitcoin's over $100,000, when Bitcoin's $1 million, like it's still going to be a good time to buy it because it will still continue to go up over time after that. So I think that's an important thing to note. Even though we're front running the institutions right now, that's going to feel really good in the long term. Even if you don't front run the institutions, it's still going to be a good idea to buy Bitcoin.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I always say that as well, like always buy Bitcoin, continuously buy Bitcoin, constantly buy Bitcoin. I really don't believe in a bad time to buy Bitcoin. Of course, like if you're new to the market and you buy a local top, like you're going to be like, my friend scammed me. Why did I buy this? But as me and my friends always say is like, we buy local tops as historical timestamps of buying Bitcoin. So like, it's just part of the game. There's no wrong time to buy Bitcoin.
Someone in the comments like, did my boy said Algorand?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Did I say?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a planet
That's a
from,
shit
like
coin.
Star Wars or something?
I think it's a shit coin.
Yeah, it's a shit coin. Yeah.
Oh God. Algorithm. Anyways. Yeah. It's good talk. Good conversation. I'm really enjoying it. Anyways, I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor. Bitcoin 2024 is going to be the largest Bitcoin conference in the world. It's not going to be in Miami this year. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. If you want an opportunity to see Opti in person, you definitely want to go to Bitcoin 2024. He will be signing autographs and taking pictures with
You
everybody.
don't want my autograph, guys. Don't do that.
Opti will be doing anything you want. But
wait, hold up.
But only at Bitcoin 2024. I'm just kidding. Guys, you definitely don't want to miss this Bitcoin conference. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference in the world, biggest celebration, the year of the halving. So it's July 25th through the 27th, 2024. And you want to get your tickets quickly because the prices will go up. For a GA ticket or a festival pass, you can get it for $349. For an industry pass, you can get it for $1,099. For a whale pass, you can get it for $4,999. The whale pass gives you premium seating and VIP and access to the VIP viewing area, all-inclusive premium food, open bar, and coffee bar. The industry pass is the one I recommend if you're trying to get a job in the industry. It gives you access to 3 days of the conference, including Industry Day, and also discounted hotel rates. Guys, like I said, you definitely don't want to miss the biggest Bitcoin celebration in the world, Bitcoin 2024, July 25th through the 27th. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get yourself a major discount. I think it's like 10%. Anyways, we hope to see you guys at Bitcoin 2024. All right, everybody, let's hit the news.
The Daily News.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air gap security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. Anyways, so there we go. Anyways, guys, we are going to talk about one of Bitcoin's biggest opponents here in the US right now, Elizabeth Warren, who is really acting on behest of on behalf of her donors, and of course that's the banks. She sits on the Senate Banking Committee, and her bill would essentially outlaw Bitcoin in the United States, the quote unquote Anti-Money Laundering Act. Not to mention all the times that she showed up on TV the last couple of weeks. She's gotten the CEO of the U.S.'s largest bank, JP Morgan Chase, to testify in front of Congress, calling for a global ban on Bitcoin. So yeah, she's been on a warpath. I'm not going to lie. And this bill has 20 senators signed up. So, the Senate has 100 senators, 20. It's like 20% have signed up for banning Bitcoin in the U.S. Elizabeth Warren is no joke, right? She's really taking this seriously. She really wants to take the honey badger down. I tweeted it out this morning, and it actually did pretty well. So I think I can remember it off the top of my head. But essentially, what I said is Elizabeth Warren is not worried that criminals are going to use Bitcoin. Elizabeth Warren is scared that everyone else will. And I think that's really, really what this is about. Now, Elizabeth Warren has been writing some very, very angry letters to supporters of Bitcoin all around the world. The first one was to Elizabeth Warren pushes back at blockchain lobbying efforts. The Blockchain Association's effort to lobby the U.S. Congress in what Politico called a not-so-secret weapon is an affront to efforts to stop Hamas and other terrorist groups using crypto to finance themselves. See, this is the thing that pisses me off so much, is that we know that that article that she's referring to is bullshit. Like, it was debunked. Even in congressional testimony, like Cynthia Lummis wiped the floor with it. You had multiple professional people giving testimony. They're saying that's not true. The Cynthia Lummis graphic, which we've pulled up like 100 times on this show, that literally shows that 99% of illicit finance is done with the traditional banking system, and only less than 1% of illicit finance uses quote unquote crypto, but she just keeps going with the narrative, even though it's bullshit. And this is why it was like, and this is why like I remember like it was yesterday, and like Opti was like texting me, he's like, Nico, breathe. But I knew what was coming. That's why I couldn't breathe. Which was the DOJ press conference with Binance. If you guys haven't watched it, I highly recommend watching it. Literally, that entire press conference, every single, and they were heavy hitters, right? You had Janet Yellen, you had Garland, you had like, the top echelons of the US bureaucracy. And they mentioned terrorism like 50 times. I'm exaggerating, but they mentioned terrorism a lot. What does terrorism have to do with the shitcoin exchange? Right? You could say that, there is some type of connection, but the amount of times that they said it, and I said this when I was hosting the Swan Spaces, and I was like starstruck, and I was like, they're going to try to ban self-custody in the US. It was so obvious what they were going to try to do. And then, of course, 2 or 3 weeks later, now we know that's exactly what they were trying to do. So, like, I make no mistake, like, this is a coordinated effort. And of course, I think Senator Elizabeth Warren is the figurehead of that. And now she's going after lobbying. So she's like, you can't even lobby for the industry. No, you can't even do that either. So it goes on to say, I write regarding a troubling new report that your association and other crypto interests are working to undermine bipartisan efforts in Congress and the Biden administration to address the role of cryptocurrency in financing Hamas and other terrorist organizations. The narrative that crypto provides material support to Hamas, however, has been disproven. Blockchain analytics firm contests the Wall Street Journal article claims of extensive crypto funding that Warren cites in her letter, saying the actual amount is in the thousands of dollars rather than tens of millions. But do you see how she keeps going, even though it was debunked? Even the Wall Street Journal article offered a correction. It doesn't matter. She keeps going with the narrative because she needs the narrative. Without that narrative, it's like, I just want to ban it because it's a competition against banks and the US dollar. Like, that's the reality, but she can't say that. So it's terrorism, right? And remember, terrorism, right, was used to pass the Patriot Act. So it's like, you always need the boogeyman. You always need that, like, oh my God, I need the government to come save me from this, from this thing. So I have to give up my freedoms in order for that to happen. So it goes on to say, U.S. lawmakers have asked President Biden and Treasury Secretary Yellen to assess the extent of cryptocurrency used by Hamas for fundraising. Amidst debates about the scale and impact of such activities, quote, the response of the crypto industry appears to be focused on delaying or denying new rules that would restrict crypto's use by terrorists and criminals. Yeah, but again, like, misrepresentation, right? Because her bill, right, doesn't address all the illicit finance that's happening in the traditional financial system. And her bill would essentially force miners, validators, and open source software developers to KYC, essentially, which is impossible. So that's why it would be a de facto ban. This is absurd at this point. But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this would not be happening if we weren't winning. Like if we were winning, if we were losing, we wouldn't hear anything. But it's because we're winning. And American Hodl pointed something out the other day, which I think was very astute. And he's like, it's not a coincidence that they're trying to ban self-custody on the verge of the ETF approval. That's not a coincidence. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, without self-custody, the revolution is no more. It's over. It's done. Bitcoin has been captured. Self-custody is the revolution. That is what changes the whole power dynamics, right? It changes. It's so consequential that it fundamentally changes the relationship between the state and the individual, because the state's return on violence, there's no amount of F-16s and aircraft carriers that's going to break a Bitcoin private key. You can't brute force your way in. So it changes the dynamics of the situation. I really think that's what it's about fundamentally. And if you're a government bureaucrat or a politician that has been benefiting from the current system, and then comes this other system that was born out of reaction to the current system being so fundamentally broken, of course you're not going to like it. Of course you're not going to. It's not for you. Anyways, Pierre Richard says, when you start sending angry letters at trade associations to try to intimidate them into silence, you've lost. And here's Pierre Richard. Former public servants and veterans who choose to do Bitcoin advocacy are mission-oriented. The letter in purging their integrity may reflect the difficulties Senator Elizabeth Warren is facing in Congress. And look, as more time goes by, the lie, we have to call it for what it is, okay? The lie that somehow terrorist funding, a large part of terrorist funding is coming from Bitcoin and crypto. The more she sits on that lie, the more the lie will get exposed, right? Like the fact that she's so blatant about it and she keeps doubling down even though we know it's false, tells me that she has nothing to stand on. So I do agree with Pierre. Now, shout out to Peter McCormack and his podcast, What Bitcoin Did. And essentially, he interviewed this person called Opti. Could you help me with that pronunciation, please?
I think it's Perian.
Who's the founder and CEO of Digital Chamber, advocate for Bitcoin. And some interesting things were said. But here's the quote.
Senator Marshall.
I'll play it in the background while I read the quote. It says, the American Bankers Association wrote the bill. The fight is happening now. Things have really heated up. And I think we're in the and then they fight you stage, and then we win. And I think we're clearly winning. And I fundamentally agree. I agree 1,000%. So shout out to Peter.
You should play the whole clip, bro. Maybe there's a reason why you're not, but it's a good clip.
It's a good clip. Should we play it? Okay. Well,
I
do want to give credit to Peter. This is from What Bitcoin Did.
Go listen to this podcast.
To episode What Bitcoin Did 750 if you guys want to listen to the entire episode. But here's a clip from that episode.
Senator Marshall talked about the bill, the digital asset anti-money laundering legislation, which I'm calling AKA the Ban Crypto in the United States bill. He shared, and I don't think this was known, but he shared that the American Bankers Association wrote the bill.
What?
So he said, and we have a recording of it. We will be releasing it soon, so you can see it and hear it with your own eyes. But he said, we're concerned about illicit finance with crypto. So the first thing we did is we went to the American Bankers Association and said, how do we fix the issue? And that's where the bill came from. So that's now been shared privately, soon to be made publicly known by us. And at the funny thing, the crazy thing, he had his notes that his staff wrote him. So he's at the podium. He forgot the name of the bill. He stumbles through just even saying the name of the bill. So you can kind of tell he's relying on other people to pull this legislative initiative together. He doesn't get the name right, stumbles through it. says, yeah, we went to the banks, the American Bankers Association, got us the language. And then he ends his talk by, oh, and that's really all I know about crypto. So he also divulged that he doesn't have an understanding of the technology itself. So it's,
I mean, I'll stop it there, guys. Check out the like I said, check out the whole podcast. What Bitcoin Did 750 with Peter McCormack when he interviews his guest. If you guys want to listen to the whole thing, but you guys get the gist of it, right? Which is just so ridiculous. And here are other responses. So here's Jerry Brito. Jerry Brito is part of Coin Center. And, Elizabeth Warren sent them a very angry letter. Oh, and this one is actually like titled to him, Mr. Brito. I'm going to read it like an angry Karen. Okay. So I apologize beforehand. Dear Mr. Brito, I write regarding a troubling new report that your organization and other crypto interests are flexing a not-so-secret weapon, a small army of former defense, national security, and law enforcement officials to work on your behalf to undermine my bipartisan efforts in Congress, the Biden administration, to address the role of cryptocurrency in financing Hamas and other terrorist organizations. All right, you guys get the gist of it. I mean, it is kind of a bit of a copy-paste, right? It seems like she sent the same letter to a lot of people. And here is Niraj, and he also part of Coin Center. They do a great job. And this is what he responded. Engaging like-minded experts to advocate against legislative proposals that one sincerely believes are unconstitutional and detrimental to the nation's welfare does not constitute undermining bipartisan efforts in Congress. Rather, it is the exercise of the fundamental right to freely associate and petition the government. It's everyone's right, and no one should apologize for doing it. Resorting to questioning motives often reflects an inability to prevail on the merits of an argument itself. What a effing Chad, bro. What a Chad. What a Chad response, dude. What a Chad response. And I think that's the signal, right? What the Coin Center fellas pointed out, what Peter's guest said on what Bitcoin did. We're winning. And because we're winning, you're starting to see panic. And they're relying on lies. They're relying on misrepresentations of data and facts in order to propel or push forward a political goal. But it's crazy. And it would be a very, very sad day in America, if this thing were to pass, because it passing is based on a misrepresentation of data, misrepresentation of facts, and they're lying about it, and they don't care that they're lying. What's the thing that we always say, Opti? It's like, I forget. Like we know they're lying. We know they're lying. They know they're lying. They know we know they're lying, and they're lying anyways, right? It's like that's where we are in the movie, but that tells you how powerful this is, right? They essentially want to ban your ability to write down 12 words in the US. Like that's how scared they are of it. Which is just it's just crazy to see. What a wild time to be living through. Anyways, I do want to get our guest thoughts. I went on a bit of a ramble covering this very deep topic. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, I feel like Elizabeth Warren is like a toddler starting to have a tantrum, and that tantrum will come with more Bitcoin adoption when she sees that what her efforts to squash this thing aren't really working. I think her everything that she's saying is going to get louder and louder and louder, and she's going to start yelling louder and louder. And I personally don't think it's going to work. I think I can't remember the exact number, but like the opposite of BlackRock, how BlackRock has applied for like so many ETFs and only one has been rejected. I feel like Elizabeth Warren has like proposed like 70 plus bills and none of them have been like made into law. So personally, it doesn't really make me that concerned. It does. It's just a little unfortunate that the US is kind of taking this approach. And it's really unfortunate to see the degradation of like her integrity over the years. Like she started by supporting the Occupy Wall Street movement, she was against big banks and, you know, the conglomeration of like massive corporations and monopolies. And so in theory, like all that stuff is good, right? You know, power to the people, but she should love Bitcoin. She should love why Bitcoin gives power back to the people. But I think she's just gone so far down the government rabbit hole and been corrupted by money. And, you know, I'm not an expert, so I don't know how much I should say, but I just feel like it's a missed opportunity for her to go the path that she's going.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and then again, like it makes you question, like, was she ever for Occupy Wall Street, or was she an opportunist?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Like, because from my perspective, it looks like she was an opportunist, right? Like, I don't think that she was ever for the things that she said she was for, because that, like, if she was really for those things, that she would stand for Bitcoin, right? Because, you know, Bitcoin is like, in my opinion, one of the best things for the middle class. You know, apparently that's what she stands for, but I don't think so, right? She wants people to did they add Twitter comments on here?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So
okay, let's pop it up. Look at that.
I've been popping them up.
Look at that. Okay, that's pretty cool. Anyways, so, but yeah, I mean, it's a shame. Opti, you dated her. What do you think?
Well, first, before we get into this, like, Elizabeth Warren, I kind of want to touch on a few things like that. Guys, go definitely watch that clip from What Bitcoin Did, Peter McCormick's podcast with I forget her name, but Perrianne. It's so telling, and we've been saying this all year, like ever since Elizabeth Warren's got on our radar. You know, we've been hinting and joking at the idea that, like, oh, I wonder who's paying her, I wonder who she's lobbying for, and now we have more and more evidence that she's obviously not doing what's best for the citizenry. She's not here to protect you guys. She's just playing cover for the big banks. And, you know, at times we were speculating who's actually playing cover for the big banks, and I think we know for sure that it's Elizabeth Warren and co. And like Hoddle said, I don't think it's a coincidence that Elizabeth Warren comes out at the very same time that we are about to prove a spot Bitcoin ETF. And then I think yesterday we got news that BlackRock is not going to be able to redeem their spot Bitcoin ETF for Bitcoin. They're only going to do it for cash. These are the things that make you say, I wonder what they're actually doing, guys. It's very easy. They want you guys custodying, you know, quote unquote, custodying your Bitcoin with them. They want to continue to maintain their middleman privilege. We see the game. This is the 5D chess match going on, guys. So do not fall for this, like, oh, we're here to protect the little guy. And then in response to the Blockchain Association letter, did you guys see on Twitter that, like, some semi-renowned economist was basically saying, like, if you are into crypto, you're a traitor to America or something?
That was fucking crazy.
Like, this is the next level of FUD that we're going to be seeing now. We're like, as an American,
I gotta say though, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Opti. We fucking called this shit.
We called this shit
like a year and a half ago. We're like, they're gonna, you know, I said this. What did I say exactly? I said, they're gonna tell you that holding Bitcoin is a danger to national security.
Yeah, and we're already there. They're already laying the groundwork for that. And it's like, it's absolutely incredible. Like, these politicians, they're supposed to uphold the first, second, you know, all the amendments.
No, they don't give a
This is literally
fuck,
that's what I'm saying. They do not care about the Constitution. This is a First Amendment issue. Like, Elizabeth Warren's trying to ban you remembering words. Like, I thought this is a freedom of speech issue. I thought I can say and do what I want in the home of the brave, land of the free. And here we are. They're telling us, oh, you're too dumb to hold your own money. You know, you got to trust the banks here. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And of course, they're going to angle this so that all the capital and all the people holding Bitcoin is in an ETF so that the game keeps going as normal.
And they can seize it whenever they want. Like that's the racket, essentially.
And then just like doubling down on this, guys, and being a little preemptive and understanding where this is going, and basically having one of those like we called it moments again. Like we know where this is going to go. The FUD is going to get even louder. They're going to call us even more heinous criminals. Just remember why we do this. It's to literally stop them from stealing from us. Like the fact that the criminals out there, the true criminals, are afraid of you holding your Bitcoin just shows why Bitcoin is so important in the first place. The fact that big banks don't want you to hold Bitcoin, the fact that big banks have to go out here and roll out this parade about like how Bitcoin is dangerous and they're in the back ends working on the bill. Guys, it just shows that we're so right. Like Bitcoin, you know, in the vein of Elizabeth Warren, Bitcoin is the true Occupy Wall Street, and they're absolutely terrified about it. This is why you custody your Bitcoin. This is why you teach everyone around you that they need to hold some Bitcoin, because it breaks their monopoly on money. And they're absolutely terrified. They're doing whatever they can, scrambling to control information again, and they're losing. And it's so freaking awesome to be a Bitcoiner, to see all this stuff play out. Again, we say it all the time. Once you have the Bitcoin fundamentals and you look through the Bitcoin lens and you have these the Bugle's emailing me right now. They're DMing me right now.
Oh wait. Are they breaking news? Breaking news. Opti talking to Christy again.
I got the Bugle hitting me up right now. I lost my train of thought. The Bugle article just dropped. DOJ launches formal investigation into Elizabeth Warren, citing her stance on Bitcoin as suspicious. The Bugle's the best journalist in the game, apparently. But it just goes to show how ridiculous this whole thing is where the very people that are robbing from you are telling you that you're the criminal. Like, couldn't make this stuff up. This is the very reason for Bitcoin's existence in the first place. And yet it's only going to intensify. So just buckle down, understand that they're going to paint you as a criminal, continue to take Bitcoin into custody. Like I wouldn't be in this if the Elizabeth Warrens of the world weren't calling me I don't even know at this point. She's been calling us what? Illiterate financiers, I don't know, 80 IQ, money launderers, financial criminals. Now we're traders. Like, just keep them coming, dude. Just keep it coming. I love all the branding that they're giving us. I take it and run with it. She can't stop this. Like Bevan said, it is very disappointing to see how the U.S. government is responding to Bitcoin. I'm not surprised, considering that they are in a position to lose it all if they aren't, holding their cards correctly. And this is the game, guys. Just know that this is what's happening. And it's no longer us just speculating on if this is the reason. Like, in their own words, they're telling us exactly what we've been saying. They're going to call you criminals. They're going to call you traitors. They're going to call you money launderers, because the pot is calling. I don't know. They're basically projecting is what I'm saying. Anyways, let's get into the culture, Nico, unless you want to jump some. Shadowy supercoders. Wow, how could I forget that one? Man. Yeah.
She I don't know, dude. I think she's racist against Bitcoiners. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Cappy. My voice is still broken. It's funny. They're the most trusted place to buy and sell host mining equipment. You got to check out their racks. You can do that by scanning the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you directly to the Kaboom Racks website, where you can check out their inventory and you can connect with a member of their sales team. They make purchasing products easy and transparent. You could also sell mining equipment with them. You could access their vast network of domestic and international customers when you sell your mining equipment with them. Guys, it is the best place to stack those racks. You got to check out the racks.
Check out the racks. Get high on their hash.
No, I never said that.
That's their market.
Get high on their hash rate. Get high on their hash rate. This is a family-friendly show, Opti. Okay.
I am pretty sure that's their marketing, not mine.
Okay. All right. Scan the QR code. Check out the racks.
Shout out to Alex from All right.
And Nick and all the. Let's get to the culture.
The Daily Culture.
brought to you by swanbitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit swanbitcoin.com today. Guys, I do want to tell you about the Pacific Bitcoin Festival. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin festival ever, the largest Bitcoin celebration on the West Coast. Opti and I had a great time last year. I highly recommend it. It's very festive. They throw the celebration in an, I swear to God, in an airplane hangar. It's really badass. The venue's awesome. The vibe is awesome. The California weather, is a cherry on top. Last year's speakers included Jimmy Song, Lynn Alden, Greg Foss, Alex Gladstein, Corey Clipson, Preston Pish, Stacey Herbert, Max Kaiser, Stefan Lambert, and many, many more. You definitely.
When is it this year, Nico?
They haven't released. They haven't released the dates yet, but we will release them very, very soon. Guys, check out the Pacific Bitcoin Festival. You can use promo code Simply to get yourself a big discount.
Okay, guys. Well, you already know the deal. This is the culture where we feature our guest. So, Bevan, before we get into what you're working on, I think it would be fitting to kind of give people context of your previous life and then how you got into Bitcoin. And then we'll talk about what you're currently working on.
Totally. So I've been a filmmaker for the last 6-7 years. I've worked on ski films. I've worked on fishing films, but mostly all things camera. I've worked on a bunch of other, productions that weren't necessarily my production, and I've been making videos, but I haven't had a YouTube channel. I've just been doing client work for a long time. But recently, in the last 3-4 months, I have kind of had this switch go off where I realized that I think if I spent my time making Bitcoin educational content, engaging Bitcoin educational content, then the world would be a better place. And, I might actually help the world become a little bit better of a place. So I've since kind of transitioned to doing that. I started a YouTube channel called Bit Intelligence that you guys should go follow. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, so another 250 more, you'll get me there. But we've been putting out films that I've made with a variety of really influential articles that have helped orange pill me. And I make them with AI generated content. I kind of got when all that AI stuff was coming out, the text to video, text to image stuff, I went down the rabbit hole. And then I realized that you could entirely make all your visuals for these films with this AI generated content. Which kind of opened me up to this new style of content. I do documentary style content where I show up, I interview someone, I film with them for a couple of days, and then I make a video cutting their interview together with all the B-roll that we filmed. But obviously with Bitcoin, it's a little bit harder than that. You can use stock footage, but everyone uses stock footage. So to be a little bit more original, we started making a lot of our own content. This one that Nico has up right now, we do 2 different styles of content. One is these articles that we make AI generated content for. And then the other is podcast recaps, at least is what I've been calling them. So I noticed that there's so much great content buried in long form podcasts that pretty much anyone on, listening to us right now will probably deep dive into 2.5 hour Bitcoin podcast. But for the normies out there that aren't gonna, spend that much time learning about something that they don't even know they should be interested in, it seems hard to get someone to be oh, you'll totally understand Bitcoin if you listen to this really long podcast. So hopefully, by shortening them to their main points, putting a little bit of engaging stock footage on top of it, the idea is that a few more people, might get the bug. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I have a lot of ideas. I got a lot of content planned in the future months, and I think it's perfect timing with the halving coming up. I think Bitcoin is going to be a hot topic in the media. So hopefully, we get some more people orange pilled.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome that you use AI and and all that. So it's a very it's a very potent tool, right, in content creation, which is just adding like kind of stock footage, epic music too, just behind someone. If someone's talking and you just put like an epic kind of B-roll soundtrack on the end, and some visuals and all that stuff, you'd be surprised, like if you're not in content creation, how effective that is at capturing people's attention and whatnot. So it's really, really cool. And now the part that interests me is the AI aspect. So you said you use AI to make some of this. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so there's right now you can't yet type a sentence in and prompt an entire video, which is good. I think that's good. I think if people were doing that, the AI content would go off the rails pretty early.
Is that an AI person right now?
No, this is just stock footage. This is like one of the
don't fall
podcast
in
recaps.
love.
So you should go to The Greatest Heist in History by Tomer Strelay. It's one of the recent.
Okay. 1 second. Let me pull that up.
But yeah, so like using a lot of these AI tools, it's kind of like an orchestra, and you're the conductor, and you have to kind of like link this tool with that tool and that tool, or like this tool leads to that tool.
So you're using all this stuff you're using like Midjourney for the images and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you turn the images into animations using another tool called Runway.
That is very cool, man. That is very, very cool, dude. Yeah, I mean, dude, AI is fascinating. Dude, this is really cool. This is
taking over the world, Nico. You don't be fascinated, be afraid of it. Look at these videos. It's so scary. You're gonna put filmmakers out of work, or maybe create new filmmakers, dude.
I don't know, bro.
I think create different filmmakers.
Wow, this is so cool. Holy crap.
Wait. Before we move on a little bit, Bevan, I just want to commend you, because I always say it kind of jokingly, but I'm like usually very serious when I say it. But I say it just because I understand how like people take this when I say this phrase. But I think it's so important to be making Bitcoin propaganda, because we are fighting their propaganda war with our own propaganda. And it's really what we say here all the time on the show. We're here working and fighting for the hearts and minds of the masses, and pictures and short form content and digestible content, better yet, is I think the most important thing we can be doing for just the average person out there. It's like, get the message across in an entertaining way that they understand why we do what we do. It's not that difficult. And they'll call us propagandists. I'll lean in and call myself a propagandist. But so many Bitcoiners, we've been building the bear market, and so many of us get lost in the sauce. And it's like, there's not enough Bitcoin content. There's clearly not enough Bitcoin content because the world isn't on a Bitcoin standard yet. So, kudos to you for just like stepping up, doing this on your own time, from your own initiative. And I think more people should be doing this. They will be doing this. And it's only a matter of time until there's just so much good Bitcoin content out there. What do we say, Nico? Culture is downstream from politics, or up. What's it? Politics is downstream.
I can't take credit for that quote, but yeah, that's a Breitbart. That's an Andrew Breitbart quote.
Continue to add to the culture, guys. This is how we change this.
Yeah.
And one of the.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I've noticed on YouTube, at least like doing a lot of research on YouTube, is like there's so many people that make financial content or economics content or even like philosophical content that get what the problem is in our society. They nail it on the point. You like watch these videos, you're like, bam, that's the problem. But like, how are you not incorporating Bitcoin as at least part of the solution? And so I've found a ton of these videos, and I'm just like, I have a list of them going in a Google Sheet, and I'm just like going to remake them, in my own way, in my own words, but offer some sort of solution at the end of those videos, because like realistically, like, inflation is theft, right? It's caused all these like misaligned incentives in our society that have just wreaked havoc for the last 50 years, and caused all these problems. And people get it. Like people, if I ask anyone on the street, like if, their life was better 10, 15 years ago, or, you know, their money purchased more things 10, 15 years ago, but then like they've seen this degradation in like their city that they've lived in, you know, where there's more homeless people, there's more crime, there's more, you know, all sorts of different things. But basically, I'm kind of finding those videos and putting my own spin on it, and offering a solution, because as Bitcoiners, we know that, you know, Bitcoin won't fix the entire world, but there's so many incentives that it will flip on its head right now that will lead us to a more prosperous world. So yeah, anyway.
Love it, love it. And this is such a trip seeing like the AI mid-journey pictures like become animated. It's crazy.
How long does one of these take to make?
It's like a week, I would say. There's a lot of there's a lot of waiting. Like AI tools are kind of expensive if you want to use them quickly, because they make you pay like per, you know, processing power. So if you're just like hitting the generate button, then, you know, you're going to end up spending like $20 every hour. But if you do it in like relax mode, they only let you generate a few things at a time. So I always like, I'm doing some other thing, and then I like, you know, go generate in the background.
Well, this is incredible work, man. This is very good stuff. And the way that you put it together, it's very, very effective. I'm sure, you know, and Tomer's an amazing writer. So many good pieces that he's made and he's written. So this is very, very cool stuff. You guys could check out Bevan's YouTube channel, Bit Intelligence, on YouTube. And stay tuned, because I'm sure you'll see a lot of other fire type of content dropping in the next couple of months. These images are just, they're absolutely like, they're so, you know, eye popping, and they just capture your attention. And it's a very effective way of making content, and it just adding more
Bitcoin propaganda,
adding B-roll. But the awesome part about AI is that you can essentially, instead of searching through like, you know, just this B-roll library to like find the perfect fit, you literally ask AI to make that thing that you in your head you want a reality, which is so freaking cool and so freaking neat. So, man,
one last question from the chat, Bevan. Toxic Selfie, of course, with the hard-hitting questions. Couldn't someone just use multiple Anon accounts to generate AI stuff so you can do it quicker?
Oh.
I mean, yeah, sure. I have actually a guy that I work with that helps me generate the images, so I'm not doing it all by myself either.
Let's go. Of course. He's like, wait, how can I scam the AI algorithms? Oh, man, the chat's undefeated.
Ooh, that Santa hat, man. You get hot under there, bro. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. But the number one thing you could do to help push the peaceful Bitcoin revolution is share all Bitcoin content, including Bevan's, because it looks epic AF. So definitely check out his channel, share his content. Someone said it, the actual quote in the chat. I am going to pull it up if I find it in 3 seconds. 3, 2. Yep, I did find it in time. Politics is downstream from culture. That's why we got to take over the culture. The way you do that is with media, podcasts, art, music, all of that good stuff. This is how we
planting the seeds of freedom in your normies' minds.
Anyways, guys, buckle up. This is a separation of money and state. We are definitely we're definitely in the then they fight you stage. Take self-custody of your Bitcoin. Remember, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. There's so many things that we promote on the show that make that incredibly easy. So you have absolutely no excuse. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the show. Like I said, Opti and Sophie will be back tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. I'll be back Thursday, Friday. Everyone have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. Peace out, everybody.